What's going on, everybody? My name's Chris. Welcome to Bourbinsane. If this is your first time checking out the channel, welcome in. If you're looking for the latest in whiskey news, reviews, information, this is the right channel for you. I do whiskey reviews twice a week as well as live streams, so please consider hitting that subscribe button and that like button. I've got a very, very special bourbon for you all today. This is one I've been wanting to get my hands on since the first time I heard this was coming out a few months back. We are going to be reviewing Four Roses Small Batch Select. Luckily for me, I had a family member recently take a trip to Kentucky, and they were able to pick this up for me. Incredibly grateful. I'm incredibly glad I could get my hands on this. This is only released in certain markets right now, Kentucky, a couple other states. Eventually it's going to be a part of their core lineup, so it will be available everywhere, but at the moment it's just limited release. This is the Small Batch Select, so we've all heard of the Four Roses Small Batch, it's the regular Four Roses. And this is actually a little bit of an amplified version of that, if you will. So before we get into the review, let's talk about Four Roses as a distillery a little bit. Now, Four Roses is one of the most unique distilleries for what they're doing with their whiskey. So Four Roses uses two different types of mash bills. Mash bill B, which is actually a higher rye mash bill. That's a 35% rye mash bill. And then also mash bill E, which is only 20% rye. So two different types of mash bills. They also use 5 different yeast strains. So the 5 different yeast strains they use are actually yeast strain V, which is a delicate fruit, yeast strain K, which is described as a slight spice, F, which give herbal notes to the whiskey, and then yeast strain O, which is described as a rich fruit, and yeast strain Q, which is more floral notes that come through. So Small Batch Select has 3 yeast strains along with both mash bills. So they use an OESK, OESV, and OESF, and then same with B. So OBSV, OBSK, and OBSF. Whew, that's a mouthful. So 6 different combinations, if you will, are put into the Small Batch Select. The regular Four Roses Small Batch only has 4 different. So they only use yeast strain K and yeast strain O along with both mash bills. So this kind of has more yeast strains put in it as well. So we'll see if it brings through any of those notes that are contained in the whiskey. So very unique what Four Roses is doing with their whiskey. Very progressive in the things they do. So they put out good products too. So I'm excited to get into this one. So first things first, let's talk about this product. This is non-chill filtered. Comes in at 104 proof. And this contains roughly about 6 to 7 year old whiskey in it, which is an improvement over the normal small batch. Normal small batch is 90 proof, not quite as old. So very nice. I mean, just looking at the color to begin with here, you can tell it's quite dark. I mean, looking at the bottle, it looks very dark. And in my light here, it's also pretty dark. I'd say a medium to even dark caramel color in this. Gorgeous looking color. It's not really sticking to the glass too much like I would expect from a non-chill filtered product. It's 104 proof, so it's not extremely high proof, but definitely amplified from the 90, the normal small batch 90 proof, so. All right. Let's go ahead and go into the nose here on this, guys. As you can see, I've had a pour or two out of this. I tried to wait about a week before reviewing this just to give it a fair review, let it open up a little bit. But I was really excited about this one from the very beginning, so. So a nice spice kick hits me in the nose to begin with. I think that K yeast strain does come through forward on the nose. Actually, a nice fruit note really comes through as well, like a light apple, I would say. Yeah, very, very nice light fruit too. A little bit of brown sugar on the back end. The oak isn't overly heavy on this. I'd say it's there, but I think it's really on the back end of this whiskey. The fruit notes are forward on the nose for sure. The proof doesn't really. It does not nose like 104 proof, though. I would have guessed lower than that. Nice fruit notes, though. Maybe even like an apricot on this. And as I go back in for that smell there, it was almost like a little bit of almost like a a musty wood note a little bit actually came through on that. Again, buried behind those nice light fruit, gentle spice. Baking spices are in there as well on this. Smells really nice. Smells really nice, guys. All right, let's give it a sip, guys. Cheers. That's definitely got more spice on the palate. Very almost like a chocolatey note in there. On the taste, I was not getting the chocolate as much on the nose, but on the taste, that definitely that chocolate came through, and the spice as well. Now more of those classic bourbon notes you'd expect are coming through a little more. So I'm getting a lot more brown sugar now. The caramel notes, the vanilla notes, those are coming through nice. First sip was just a lot of spice. A good amount of burn, really. On the nose, it did not smell 104 proof, but on that first sip, it did. But I think that's more attributed to the spice that's in this. And even going back to the nose now, it's got more of those just classic bourbon notes you'd expect. The brown sugars, caramels. You know, the finish really is kind of underwhelming to me, honestly. I'm kind of underwhelmed with the finish. It's pretty thin, which is unfortunate. The non-chill filtered and 104 proof. I mean, I expect a pretty nice finish. It's not bad. I mean, the finish isn't bad by any means, but it's just, it leaves a little more to be desired, I feel like. I think maybe even with a little more time and a little more air, more than just a week like I gave this bottle, I feel like it could continue to improve. Yeah, I mean, it's got a great balance. I think it's got a great balance of all the flavors they were trying to put into this whiskey. It's got a good amount of spice, the nice bourbon notes you want in your bourbon. I mean, it's not overly like fruity or overly herbal. You know, judging by the yeast strains they use, the F yeast strain, which is the herbal one, I don't really get a huge amount of the herbal tones. I'd say it's more spice forward with the clove. You know, the clove, the baking spices. Not really any cinnamon in this, though. When I think of baking spices, I always think of cinnamon, but they're different. They're different notes. It's pretty solid. Yeah, it's pretty solid. The most disappointing part of this bottle I'm gonna have to say is the finish. I just wish it would give me a little more in the finish, a little better mouth coating, better mouth feel. You know, the flavors that do hit your palate and coat the mouth are nice. You know, it's nice flavors, but it just kind of dissipates quickly. And I just think that finish leaves a little more to be desired. So price-wise on this, guys, it's pretty much between $55 and $60 in general. This bottle I got for $57.99 in Kentucky. And, you know, for that price, I always say, man, $60 is such a tough price range. $50 to $60 really is. The specs on this bottle are great. I mean, the non-chill filtering, right around about 104 proof. I mean, that's a great proof for a whiskey, for me at least. 6 to 7 years. I mean, that's good for bourbon. You don't want too much age or not enough age. So the specs on this bottle are beautiful. And the whiskey's good. But I can't help it. Every single time there's a $60 bottle I go to review, I have to compare it to Old Forester 1920. And I still prefer Old Forester 1920 to this bottle. I can't help it. That's like the $60 standard where I put the top $60 whiskey in my book. It's just so good, and I love that whiskey so much. This is good. I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. This is really good. I'd rather it be around the $40 to $50 range. That would be better. And who knows, maybe down the road, if once it's distributed everywhere, they may lower the price a little bit. But I'm guessing it's going to stay right around $50 to $60. So overall, it's a very good bottle. I'm not disappointed with this bottle at all, and I'll definitely drink the whole thing and enjoy the whole thing. And like I said, I really think this bottle will open up even more beyond the week, 2-week mark. So, you know, I may come back to this and do a re-review. One thing I do want to do, though, guys, is I want to do a quick side-by-side with the regular small batch, just to see the differences and if there is a difference. So let me quick grab that bottle for you guys. All right, guys, so I got the regular small batch here. Again, 90 proof on this, a little bit younger. But you can tell this is a bottle I've quite enjoyed. I mean, it's almost gone here. We're getting close to where we need to do a bottle kill on this. Looking at the color side by side here, just looking at the glasses, you can tell, I mean, even the bottles too, the small batch select is definitely darker, quite a bit darker. Again, this is only 90 proof, so you're not going to get as much color from the proof, not non-chill filtered as well. So the non-chill filtering can also amplify that color sometimes too. On the nose, the regular Four Roses small batch just smells substantially thinner. And again, the bottle's been open much longer too, so it's still a very good nose. It just smells thinner. I mean, the 104 proof really does make a difference. Those 10 points proof make a big difference for sure. Spice note is also very, very mellowed in the Four Roses, the regular Four Roses small batch. Yeah, spice note's very mellow, and that probably goes along with the proof too. Kind of mellows both. I think more of the classic bourbon notes really come out in the small batch select, which I like. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like that spice note, those higher rye notes. Both fruity. I mean, they both have like that fruitiness. But again, the fruit note again is amplified in the small batch select. So side by side, I'm going to be going for the small batch select all the time. But we have to remember, guys, this is a $35 bottle, $30 to $35 depending on where you live. So you can't expect it to be on the same level as a $50 to $60 bottle. You just can't. They're both good. They're both good, and I love this bottle. I do love this bottle. On that sip right there, I actually got a little minty note, almost like a winter mint or like a spearmint note a little bit. The biggest spearmint note I got in recent memory was a Lot 40 cask strength I tried, and that had a big spearmint note to me. I mean, that's a rye, obviously, so that comes through a lot, but maybe that subtle spearmint could be, you know, the higher rye mash bill coming through a little bit. I think it's a very complex whiskey. A lot of layers to it, which is nice, and that's the great thing about Four Roses is they can do that. There's so many things they can do because they use so many different combinations of mash bills and yeast strains. There's a lot of stuff they can do with their whiskey, and I think that's really cool. Really cool. Thank you guys so much for watching this review today. I had a great time trying this. I'm so glad I finally got around to doing this bottle. I really, really enjoy this. If you can find this bottle, I say get it. I mean, if price isn't an issue to you, it's definitely worth getting and trying. If you can swing the $55-$60, it's definitely worth a pickup, and you're not going to be disappointed. Thank you so much for watching the review today, guys. If you liked what you saw, please do consider hitting that like button and that subscribe button. Also, follow me on Instagram and Patreon. I have a Patreon page I just launched. A lot of exclusive content you can only find over there, so if you're interested in checking that out, go check it out, patreon.com/Bourbinsane. Also have these nice glasses, new challenge coins just came out as well, so if you're interested in getting anything like that, go ahead and shoot me an email, bourbinsane@gmail.com. I'm happy to hook you up with those as well, guys. Thank you so much for watching the review today, guys. Stay insane.